Good evening, everyone. I am Shubi Ambertalia, the reporter in the world history, and I am going to continue the ancient Near East, and I am assigned to the domination of Near East by the later empires. What were the empires of the ancient Near East? So, the empire of the ancient Near East was a home to the world's earliest empires from the great centers of civilization in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Anatolia. So, the first empire in ancient Asia was Akkadian Empire, which was ruled by Sargon of Akkad. The picture below, he is Sargon of Akkad, and he is also known as Sargon the Great of the 3rd millennium BCE, or before the Common Era. So now let's move on to the origins of the Assyrian Empire. So around the 24th century before the Common Era, the Assyrian Empire emerged in northern Mesopotamia, and it was also a collection of city-states, but it gradually coalesced into a centralized empire. So the Assur, Nineveh, and Nimrud are the several capitals in the Assyrian Empire. And so when it comes to military advancement, the Assyrian developed advanced military technology and strategies. They also pioneered the use of the iron weapons, the siege warfare techniques such as the battering rams. So if you can search, the battery rams were used to batter down the gates of the walls of a besieged city or castle, and also the siege towers. So the siege towers is to breach the walls of the castle, and there were attacking. So the Assyrian would be the most remembered for their use of chariots in the warfare. King King Ashurbanipal. So Ashurbanipal was the last of the great kings of Assyria, and he reigned 668 to 627 before the Common Era, who assembled in Nineveh the first systematically organized library with a vast collection of cuneiform tablets. So that picture below, that is the cuneiform tablets in which it was being write in the stone. Let's move on to the administration of the Assyrian Empire. So the Assyrian Empire had a highly organized administrative system. So as Assyria was a monarchy in which the king was divinely appointed, all the power rule of the Assyrian people. And when it comes to cultural advancement also, the Assyrian contributed much to culture despite for their reputation for brutality in warfare. They created elaborate works of art such as relief sculptures showing royal accomplishment and ordinary life. They also contributed to the development of cuneiform writing. So as what I've said earlier, the cuneiform writing, it is used by stones. So now let's move on to the rise of the Babylonian Empire. First is the Amorite rule. In the early 19th century before the Common Era, excuse me, it was seized by an Amorite chieftain named Sumu Abum, who established the first dynasty of Babylon. So the city of Babylon was located along the Euphrates River, but today it is now Iraq. So that is the Euphrates River. So do you know the prophecy of the Euphrates River? So here's the thing, guys. So Prophet Muhammad said that the hour will not come to pass before the river Euphrates dries up. And as what I've searched, and I see that the Euphrates River is drying up already. So Hammurabi's reign. So Hammurabi is the most famous ruler of Babylon, and also he is best known for his law code known as the Code of Hammurabi. So it is the known legal code in their history. So now let's move on to the territorial expansion. So the Sumer and the Akkad, or the Akkadian Empire, grew weaker. So the Babylonian Empire conquered and expanded its territory. They also strengthened their military campaigns and alliance for further preparation if the invaders will attack. Next is the Kassiri dynasty. So the Kassiris were people of the ancient Near East who controlled the Babylonian after the fall of the old Babylonian Empire around 1500s before the Common Era. The decline and Hittite invasion. So the Babylonian Empire got weak, and that's why the Hittites invaded, but eventually the Babylonian Empire restored it. Now, let's move on to the revival under the Neo-Babylonian Empire. So, the Neo-Babylonian Empire was also known as the Chaldeans Empire. So, it was founded by Nabopolassar, who rebelled against the Assyrian Empire's domination and established the Neo-Babylonian dynasty in 626 before the Common Era. This marked the final and most significant phase of Babylonian power. Next is Nebuchadnezzar II. So Nebuchadnezzar was the famous ruler under the Babylonian Empire. So he is also known for the construction of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. It is one or being titled of one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. We also adapted the Hanging Gardens as like what we can see from the SMC side. The conquest of Jerusalem. So Nebuchadnezzar II is noted for the Babylonian capture of Jerusalem in 587 and 586 BCE, which led to the Babylonian exile of the Jewish people. Next will be the Persian conquest. So the Achaemenid Empire or the Achaemenian Empire is also known as the First Persian Empire, was the ancient Iranian founded by Cyrus the Great after the fall of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. So now we are in the Chaldeans took over the Assyrian. So in 612 before the Common Era, the Chaldean Empire won the Battle of Nineveh. As we all know, Nineveh that time was the most powerful city in the Assyrian Empire. So therefore, the scholars consider this victory as the end of the Assyrian Empire. Now we are in the ascension of to the throne. After the death of his father Nabopolassar, Nebuchadnezzar became a king and inherited a powerful empire. And when it comes to military campaigns, as we all know, Nebuchadnezzar further strengthened his military campaigns. He is also a skilled military, and also one of his notable conquests is Jerusalem, which led to the exile of the Jewish people. We are in their cultural contribution. During Nebuchadnezzar's rule, the Babylonian culture life was flourished. So the scholars and the artists flocked to imperial capital, and the city developed into a center of culture. Next is the religious policies. Nebuchadnezzar was well known for his adoration of gods, temples, and the Babylonian religion. He allied himself with God Marduk, so as what we can see in the picture, that is God Marduk, and asserted divine approbation for his rule. Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible. Nebuchadnezzar is a well-known character in the Bible, particularly in the book of Daniel. He is portrayed the Bible as a strong and even despotic monarch who interacted with biblical figures including Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Next is the succession. So the Neo-Babylonian Empire was still ruled by Nebuchadnezzar's heirs, but after his death in 462 BCE, it started to fall apart as a result of internal struggle and outside pressure, especially from the expanding Persian Empire. So now we are in the origin of the Persian Empire, which is the Achaemenid dynasty. Around the 7th century before the Common Era, a Persian nobleman named Achaemens established the Achaemenid dynasty. From his name, the term Achaemenid was derived. So the dynasty did not, however, quickly create a cohesive empire. So next is Cyrus the Great. Cyrus II, sometimes known as Cyrus the Great, played a key role in the creation of the Persian Empire around 559 before the Common Era. It is around the middle of the 6th century. he ascended to the power. So Cyrus was a diplomatic and military leader with competence. He started to unite Persian regions and strengthened his power over the neighboring nations. We are now in the conquest of Media. So in 550 BCE, Cyrus unified the Medes and the Persians under his reign by defeating the Median Empire. So the ascent to power of the Achaemenid Empire began with this. Next is the Persian kings unite their empire, which is Cyrus the Great, Cambyses II, and Darius the First. So Cyrus the Great reigned 530 to 559 BCE, while Cambyses reigned 522 to 530 before the Common Era, and lastly Darius reigned 486 to 552 before the Common Era.